Let's go ahead and call the Senate to order. The Sergeant at Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, Senators, on this very beautiful Monday, April 6th, we have Pastor Shannon Watkins of Souls One Outreach Cathedral, all the way from Cumberland, Maryland. Here is the guest of the distinguished senator from District 1. Please rise for the invocation.
Source of all wisdom, grace, and peace, we gather together today in this historic chamber, mindful of the trust placed in these leaders by the people of the Free State. We ask for a spirit of clarity and compassion to rest upon this Senate as they weigh the significant decisions before them. Grant these public servants the courage to act with integrity, the humility to listen to one ethnic and ideological neighbor as their own, and the persistent desire to seek the common good. May their words be kind and strong, and their deeds be gentle, reflecting the best of our shared humanity. Bless the staff, the families, and all Marylanders with inspiration and renewal. Help us to bridge the gaps in our communities and to work together with tolerance and a spirit of service. We offer this petition in a spirit of gratitude for the freedom to serve, and it is so. Amen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Recognize the senator from District 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, Pastor Shannon Watkins of Souls One Cathedral in Cumberland has been a dedicated spiritual leader committed to uplifting her congregation and community through faith, service, and compassion. Serving along her husband, Bishop Kenny Watkins, she plays a vital role in guiding the ministry and expanding its outreach. Together, Pastor Shannon and Bishop Watkins have built a strong, faith-centered community focus on worship, growth, and service to others. And if I may, sir, you are well aware that I have 8 children, and 2 of the 8, their first services for any church service was actually in Souls One Cathedral. Wonderful. And so at least 2 of my boys have a lot of rhythm. So, and they've learned it from going to church and listening to Pastor Watkins and Shannon Watkins. So with that, thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. And without objection, most certainly we will journalize the pastor's wonderful invocation this evening. And she's joined here with her daughter Shekinah from all the way from Cumberland, off of school today. Did I say it correctly? Yes. Yes. And their driver, Ed. Yes. So thank you all and Bishop, can thank you very much for being here with us. We appreciate you all and wish you a very safe drive back as you travel back across the mountains. Excellent. Thank you all very much for being here. Thank you, Senator. Yes, welcome. All right. Let's see. Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 41 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now back again in session. Let's see, do we have any guests today? Any guests? Yes, recognize the senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Up in the gallery, I have a few guests. My brother-in-law, Steve Markinson, and some extended family visiting for the very, very first time to Annapolis. Ethan, Jamie, Rajhani, and their 3 children visiting from Denver, Colorado, Rachel, Talia, and Jonah. So give them a warm Senate welcome up there in the gallery.
Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Hope you enjoy your visit here. Hopefully you get to do a nice tour as well while you're visiting. Senator from Baltimore City.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, colleagues. Today, I'm being shadowed by Khalid Rockman, who's a resident of 45th District. There's a story. Khalid is a senior at the McDonough School and has earned a full scholarship at Xavier University in Louisiana and HBCU, where he plans to major in political science and sociology with a concentration in crime and social justice. Khalid is here for the first phase of a senior project which focuses on bridging the gap of trust between elected officials, policymakers, and communities they serve. Through this project centered on the theme of transparency, he will shadow and interview decision makers as well as community members to better understand perspective of both sides. An avid leader, Khalid holds numerous positions at his school through student government and various clubs. He is deeply engaged in the community. As the founder at 9 years old, him and his little sister teach young people how to trade on the stock market. A business dedicated to teaching financial literacy, and he served several roles in Jack and Jill Incorporated and Capitally Guidewright. He's also the lineage of a 1992 initiate of the Gamma Epsilon chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Tuskegee University. Colleagues, please join me in welcoming Khalid Rockman to the floor this morning.
Excellent. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Keep up the great work, too. Doing great stuff. All right, let's see. Any further introductions? Any further introductions? If not, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We'll get through some of our administrative stuff here in a second. Just for calendar, for folks to kind of keep in mind. Obviously, it's the last week of session, so we have a lot we're going to be navigating a lot of flexibility. So tomorrow we'll probably have a single session just in the morning. We're going to book Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as double sessions each day, so a morning and evening. The goal, and just being totally transparent, we do not want to have to use it, but please hold 12 to 4 on Saturday, just as a block that might be. We'll have to see where the House is, what's coming back and forth. Our goal is to not have to use it, but just, I know everybody has stuff on the weekends, so just keep that 12 to 4 block as a possibility, a pencil hold. If we can avoid it, we will, but just we'll see how things go. So that's where we are. Let's go ahead. Sure, yes, Senator from the 37th.
Mr. President, we skipped the pages. Would now be a good time to introduce
Senator,
our pages. Colleagues, we've got this is our second round for the session. Our pages for the week. Our first page is from District 1, Williamsport High School, Ariella Ajungba Baker. Ariella, thank you for being here. Our next page is from District 12, Lansdowne High School, Jalen Hall. Jalen, welcome. Good to see you. Our next page is District 20, Springbrook High School, Madeline Macias. Our next page is District 9, Mount Hebron High School, Tanvi Madugula. Our next page is District 28, La Plata High School, Neela Rooney. Our next page is District 31, Severn High School, Marcus Schwartz. Next page is District 23, Bowie High School, Christabel Uweya. And then our last page, colleagues, is District 39, Seneca Valley High School, Victor Veliz. Welcome, Victor. Thank you, pages.
All right, thank you. Welcome back, pages. We are so thrilled to have you all back. You're going to see a pretty exciting week this week, so I hope you're ready. Get those steps in this week. Lots of activity and action. Let's go ahead and start with some of our administrative items here. We've got message from the House. These are yeas and nays. Clerk will read the bills.
Senate Bill 38, Chair, Judicial Proceedings, Vehicle Laws, in Ignition Airlock System Program Required Participation.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. We've got calendar number 33. These are first reading House bills. Clerk will read the bills.
House Bill 74, Delegate S. Johnson, State Procurement Security Services Contract Modification, Rules. House Bill 896, Chair, Government Labor Election Committee, Military Department, National Guard, State Active Duty Modern Mobilization Fund, Rules.
All right, let's go ahead. We have a executive nominations report. This is report number 7. Clerk will read the report.
Report number 7, the Senate Executive Nominations Committee reports favorably on the attached appointments and recommends that the Senate of Maryland advise and consent to these appointments. Benjamin Brooks, Chair.
Recognizing the Chair of the Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Report number 7 contains the remainder of the Governor's Green Bag nominees that the committee approved last week, including nominees to the Lottery and Gaming Commission, the Racing Commission, and the UMMS Board. Colleagues, please review the report on your floor system. I request that we consider these nominees in a regular session under Rule 22A and move that we special order this report until the appropriate time on Tuesday.
All right. The senator has moved that we hear the nominees on report number 7 in open session and hear them at the appropriate time on Tuesday. Any objections to the senator's motion? Without objection, so ordered. We'll take these up tomorrow. Senators, please make sure to look through the list. It's extensive. If there are any separations, please make sure to let the chair know so that we can vote on them separately. All right, let's do this. We've got a third reading calendar of Senate bills. Let's start with calendar number 76. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 213, Senator Lewis Young, State Procurement Transparency and Procedures.
All right, Senate Bill 213 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 40 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 213, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. We have another Senate bill. This is number 77. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 841, Senator Feldman, Utility Relief Reducing Energy Load Inflammation for Every Family Act. This is on third reading.
All right, Senate Bill 841 is on third reading for final passage. We want to take this one up first just in case we need to make a change. So recognize the minority whip on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Thursday, we had an extensive and I think very productive debate about this bill. Our Maryland families and businesses are facing a crisis of energy affordability that's been brought on by a couple of things. One has been long-term state policies that have shut down or dramatically limited reliable, affordable energy production in favor of more intermittent, renewable energies that seem to get most of, if not all of, the incentive and focus of state government. As a result, our state is importing right now up to 40% of our energy from other states, which adds to the cost. And if we lose Brandon Shores, which is currently slated to go off, we'll be importing perhaps as much as 80% in a worst case scenario of our energy from out of state. So we desperately need to reinvigorate in-state energy production from reliable energy sources. The second thing that drives cost for our ratepayers are is a trio of state policies that add cost to every ratepayer's bill. There's the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, which we discussed on Thursday, that ends up driving up the cost of production for natural gas power plants and other power plants, and also raises cost because of fines that are associated with not hitting the cap and trade goals. We have the Empower program, which, while it has some good intentions, adds as much as $21 on average to every ratepayer's bill, and the returns on it are getting more and more negligible for even the positives that it was supposed to bring. And then finally, we have our RPS program, where quite often energy companies, our providers, utilities are paying fines because they can't hit artificially high goals, or they're having to overpay for renewable energies, which also drives up the price. We attempted in our amendments to address all of those issues, or at least try to get some of that addressed, and generally those amendments were rejected by the majority party here. I do recognize that in this bill there is an acknowledgement that we need to bring down costs for ratepayers, and there is I would call it a small amount of ratepayer relief, but there is ratepayer relief month to month that we're doing, which is a positive. And I also think in the discussion we had a number of amendments that I believe made this bill stronger, and a couple I think were accepted as friendly. One was a very close vote, but it was an important issue on notifying consumers. And My understanding and our understanding on this side of the aisle from conversations we've had is that the Senate will fight to keep those important amendments in this bill. I believe very strongly that we should push in conference to add more relief, to do more, to get that number, that $12 a month number higher. I don't think that's enough relief for people who are suffering. And I think, again, even the relief is coming from an acknowledgement that its government has chosen to add some of these costs. So, Mr. President, though, what I want to say is I will be voting green on this bill. I believe at least a little bit of relief is better than nothing, but it should be more. It could be more. We could choose to make it more. I do think we had some positive things in this bill as it relates to dealing with the grid and some other things that we discussed on Thursday. And so my vote is going to be a cautious green, and with the encouragement that we want to see the Senate hold firm, and we would really strongly believe that there can be more relief. I know that there was a desire in this body from some in both parties to go further on relief, and there's a little bit of a challenge with the other side of the street, the other house. I think this is a great opportunity this week. A lot of our larger issues have been resolved. We have the budgets passed. This is the biggest thing left before us. It would be a great time to really get down to find a way to get real relief, real longer-term relief and short-term relief in the bill. But with that admonishment, I will be voting green, and I do appreciate that there was some bipartisan consideration for some of the ideas we raised, and so that's where my vote will be green. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right. I recognize the chair of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just very briefly, as I said last Thursday, the reason this bill is 100 pages and the reason we spent almost 4 hours on the floor on the Senate on this particular piece of legislation, and what I must agree with the minority whip was very respectful, high-level discussion about the bill, is because it's a very comprehensive piece of legislation that goes far beyond just providing short-term relief through a variety of program changes and adjustments to rate-making policies within the control of the General Assembly, which it does do. It does do that. But it also, Mr. President, also addresses medium and longer-term supply-demand imbalances and the need for, as was mentioned by the minority whip, the need for more in-state energy generation. It also establishes several consumer transparency requirements, guardrails, and policies to manage data center growth. It consolidates and streamlines important utility cost relief programs for our low-income Maryland ratepayers. There are a lot of very, very positive things in this bill, which is why the House version passed on a bipartisan vote, and it passed the EEE committee on a 9-to-1 bipartisan vote. Mr. President, for all those reasons, I urge the body to put a green vote on the board on Senate Bill 841, the Utility Relief Act. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator from District 19.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that. And colleagues, we listened to very extensive debate last week on this bill. And as I listened to the debate, I began to write some notes about what it was I was hearing and trying to distinguish fact from fiction. And the first thing I would like to do, colleagues, is offer my thanks to the EEE committee and the House sister committee with jurisdiction over this legislation for the hard work, effort, and commitment that they put into this bill, which has produced a thoughtful short and long-term plan to address Maryland's current and future energy needs while maximizing opportunities to stabilize and, where possible, reduce costs for ratepayers. Colleagues, the facts are very clear. Energy supply and costs are primarily dictated by national and global markets. There are events that are well beyond the control of a state legislature with regard to energy. That reality stands in stark contrast to much of the rhetoric we heard last week from our colleagues in the minority party. I listened with some amusement as they donned their climate denier hats to suggest that Maryland's policies are the primary driver of rising costs, which they know is fiction. Let's be honest about what is actually driving these costs. First, we are still feeling the ripple effects of energy decisions made during this current White House administration, including rolling back energy efficiency standards, withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, prioritizing fossil fuel production without corresponding investment in grid modernization or long-term price stability. These actions contribute to market volatility and have left states like Maryland more exposed to global price shocks. Second, we are seeing an unprecedented increase in energy demand, particularly from the rapid expansion of data centers nationally, and data center electricity demand is growing dramatically, and the legislation that is before us wisely places the costs associated with that demand squarely on the shoulders of the business interests that will benefit from it, not on the backs of our residents and commercial sector. Yet during this debate, we have repeatedly heard unfounded claims of a so-called, and I believe it was a terrible trio we were hearing about that involved energy cost drivers. One of those, and we heard ad nauseum, was the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, RGGI. Colleagues, every year we hear from the climate deniers who claim Maryland cannot possibly make a difference in addressing the climate crisis because we are just but one little state. But nearly 2 decades ago, Maryland joined with like-minded states across the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast in the RGGI Pact to do exactly that. Work together, not alone. And what have been the results? A remarkable 50% reduction in power sector emissions across RGGI states. Remarkable 50% reduction in power sector emissions across the RGGI states. It has also resulted in billions of dollars in economic benefits and the creation of thousands of jobs. Oh, and along the way, colleagues, it's also meant cleaner air for our constituents. But what was the response from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle? A floor amendment that would have pulled Maryland out of the overwhelmingly successful cooperative, forcing us to go it alone in the face of a global challenge. Colleagues, the hypocrisy is blinding. Also, I want to address another target of the climate deniers' criticism, and that is Maryland's Empower program. Empower is one of the most effective tools we have to lower energy costs. It helps families and businesses use less energy through efficiency upgrades, and it provides better insulation, more efficient appliances, and smarter energy use. Colleagues, let me be clear. The least expensive unit of energy is the one that is never used. And I appreciate that the minority whip is over on the other aisle, expressing his concern that I have dared to get up and challenge the assertions that were made last week. But the fact of the matter is, colleagues, I wanted the facts, not the fiction, to be the last word that we heard on this subject. So the bottom line is, colleagues, the bill before us provides a thoughtful, balanced, well-reasoned, and comprehensive package to address our current and future energy needs. And yes, we are taking some steps with regard to putting a time where we will go without in power to provide some immediate relief to our ratepayers. But I wanted the record to reflect the facts, not the fiction, and I am ever so pleased to hear from the minority whip that he will be putting up a green vote on, again, this thoughtful piece of legislation that the EEE committee has worked so diligently on. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Consider Senate Bill 841 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote?
Mr. President.
Explain their vote. Yes. Recognized Senator from District 4 has 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you. To explain my vote, I just want to say, I was really happy with the work that was done, and until my good friend from Montgomery County got up and decided to come in and club everybody with his really profound speech about how it's all the federal government's fault, when the federal government that's in there now didn't create Maryland's problems. They didn't. Maryland's energy crisis started long before. Oh, sorry. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that this is not, this is a good bill in its current stature. I didn't need somebody to come in and kind of bailiwick me with a mallet on the head on this. It was a simple vote, but there was a better way to deliver that message. And this is from Maryland's legislative body creating bad policy. Our energy crisis started long before the current administration got in. And with that, I'll have a green vote. Thank you.
All right. Recognized Senator from the 37th District has 2 minutes to explain his vote, followed by Senator from the 6th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've got a red vote up, and I have a red vote with a very heavy heart. I think we had a very good voting session. There were a lot of amendments that were taken. There was one amendment that would have made a big difference in my vote, and that dealt with putting a stall or a pause on the increase of the RPS. That would have given direct relief. And I think there are some good things in this bill. I think there are some good things that were done. However, my constituents have told me, fix my electric bill. You've seen the commercial, fix it. They don't want to know why, just fix it. That would have been something we could have actually had a major impact, not just a short-term minor refund, but something that would have lasted longer and have been more substantial. It was a very good vote, Mr. President. It was a bipartisan vote. It was a bipartisan amendment. It was 22-19. It was almost there. I'm sorry, maybe I got that number wrong. Maybe it was a little bit closer. However, it didn't do anything to repeal. It's sad that that'd be characterized as being a climate denier for supporting that, because it didn't do anything to repeal the RPS. All it did is say, wait a minute, costs are going up too quickly for our constituents. We're going to pause this so everybody get a chance to kind of get the economy going and be able to pay their bills. Unfortunately, that amendment didn't make it. And that amendment would have made a big difference for my vote, and I think for a lot of our constituents who are also ground zero right now for this renewable energy push. And so with that, I have a heavy heart. I appreciate that the amendments that were taken, particularly the one dealing with natural gas, Mr. President. You know, we had a battle on the Delmarva Peninsula to get natural gas on the Delmarva Peninsula. It's been an incredible thing for that part of the Delmarva Peninsula for energy. That amendment that we added for natural gas is going to enable that gas to be utilized, and otherwise it would have been very difficult. So with that, I just wanted to share my position on my vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Recognized Senator from District 6, followed by the Senator from District 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm voting green for many reasons, but there's more specific things, Mr. President, I'm voting for green for. We need to get relief for our constituents. We all know that. I believe EEE has done a good job, but I think at the same time, we as the Senate could do a better job. There's a lot of things that are in people's bills, our constituents, that are add-ons. And it's a burden. And one thing I emphasized, Mr. President, last week is I look at our middle class. We have never given them a relief for many of years. And I look at them and I say, how can we do better for our middle class? Because they're the heart of our nation. We do relieve a lot of our poor, because it says the poor will be with us always. So I'm glad we can help our poor. We have things in place to help them out. But when's truly the last time we've really helped our middle class, the heart of our country? I think we need to look and find ways where we can do that. Again, we had good amendments, and we took in some of them. But I think there were some there at the same time that could have made a major difference. There could have been we could have made a unbelievable sound to our people. I think we need to continue, Mr. President, to look in ways where we can minimize a cost for our constituents and our people. And I think for 90 days, we have taken a baby step. I think we need to do more. But again, I appreciate the work of this floor, and I thank you, Mr. President, for this time.
Thank you, Senator. Recognized Senator from District 9.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am also proud of the work that the EEE committee has done. This bill does a lot, and most importantly, it does what is in Maryland's authority and enabled an ability to control. We have to be honest about what we can fix and what we can't fix from the floor of the Maryland Senate. The scale of the load growth that we are seeing is regional, it's national, and the market structures that drive many of these costs are set at the regional transmission operator level by PJM. And we need for them to act and act responsibly. Just last month, the Legislators Collaborative, which includes red and blue senators and delegates from across all 13 states and Washington, D.C., we sent a letter to the director of PJM, and we said, hey, we really need you to do a reliability backstop auction. And here are the 4 things that we need in there. First of all, we need absolute ratepayer protection. We are all united in that. Second, you need to do this soon. We need to have the strategic auction no later than December 2026 to align with the interconnection queue. We need to prioritize genuine new supply. We can't keep paying capacity prices for generation that never appears. And we need to exclude data centers from the base residual auction. So colleagues, when we leave here today, let's leave proud of what we have done here, but let's not give up the fight. We need to continue to work with our neighbors across the PJM region to demand that we hold data centers to account to pay their fair share like they've said they would do, and that needs to happen at the regional level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 38 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 841, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Senators, we have the House bill version of that on the calendar, but we're still waiting on the amendments to conform since this one was just passed. So we will come back to the House bill version, unless, look at that, timing. The amendments office, who I meant to go speak to on Friday, they have been doing an amazing job. So thankful to the amendments folks. So in that case, we do have the bill. Let's go ahead. This is third reading calendar number 1414. Clerk, read the bill.
House Bill 1532, the Speaker, Utility Relief, Reducing Energy Load, Inflation for Everybody's Family Act, on third reading.
All right. HB 1532 is on third reading and subject to amendment. Recognize the chair of the committee.
Yes, Mr. President. This amendment that we have in front of us simply conforms House Bill 1532 to Senate Bill 841 that we just passed third reader. and I would move this amendment.
All right, the chair has moved the amendment. Again, this is the conforming amendment. Let's make sure that everyone has it. Mhm. Hot off the presses. All right, on the amendment. Question about the amendment? Recognize Senator from District 7.
Just confirming this has everything in it, because I've got the amendment I offered that was accepted. I had it drafted to the House. I'm just trying to read through, just confirming it is in there.
Recognizing the chair of the committee on the amendment.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I think it's verbatim, looking specifically. Yes, the amendment that was adopted here is incorporated in here.
All right. Further questions about the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. House Bill 1532 is before the Senate on third reading for final passage. And any further discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? Yes, recognize the minority whip. That's 2 minutes to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was a lot of folks suggesting that we get more into what we debated on the last bill when the debate was happening. I just want to say one thing about, I'm voting green on the bill, just like I did on the Senate bill. I believe, as my colleague from District 6 says, a baby step on relief is better than no step. There are some good things in the bill as it relates to data centers, as it relates to grid management, and some other items. I believe we should go further. I believe we should look more at the trio that I discussed, that the gentleman from Montgomery County talked about as well. Just about the climate piece. There has to be middle ground between the idea that you either deny there's anything happening or climate fanaticism. And we cannot ask our ratepayers to pay more and more and more all the time when what they're paying for is not making any appreciable difference, even if you believe that climate change is going to end the world in 15 or 20 years, which it's not. So the question we have to ask is, how much do we put on the backs of working families, working people, for something that is an ideological goal but won't really move the needle much? So I think that's when we discuss the issues around RGGI, around Empower, and around the RPS program. There's also a question of effectiveness in that. And so I think it would be smart, once again, to urge the body as we try to have discussions with the House to push for some additional relief in this bill. But my vote is green, and I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further senators wish to explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 38 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1532, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right, still a ways to go. We've got to go back and onwards we are, but appreciate the work that the committee's done. There's a lot of work on that one, so halfway there. All right, let's go to third reading calendar number 18. Number 18. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 193, Delegate Kerr, State Procurement Transparency and Procedures.
House Bill 193 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 193, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 261, Chair, Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, State Procurement, Competitive Proof of Concept Procurement.
All right, House Bill 261 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 261 have received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 717, Delegate Edelson, Baltimore City, raffles organizations affiliated with professional baseball and football teams.
House Bill 717 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 717 have received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1156, Delegate Fisher, Calvert County Length of Service Award Program benefits.
House Bill 1156 is on third reading for final passage. Yes, I recognize Senator from the 29th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick question. I thought we changed the sponsor on this bill. It was an amendment. It was read on the floor.
Check with the floor leader. It has not yet been reprinted because it is a House bill, so it will not reprint. The amendments are not fully adopted on House bills until they fully passed on third reading because they could be amended on third reading. So potentially that is why it has, but it has not been reprinted. Right. Until it's enrolled, it won't be reprinted. So it will go back for review for the House. They'll make their decisions as to whether to accept or reject the amendments in conference committee. But for Senate bills, we reprint them and the titles will change between second and third. That's not the case for House bills.
So the amendment that we presented, turning this back to a local bill, was that adopted?
It was adopted. The amendment was adopted. I'm sorry. Yes. Was that the question? Apology. My apologies. It just has not been, it doesn't show up as such because of the printing versus the passing. All right. Any further discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1156, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Just as a quick note, we're going to go to second readers. We've gotten some notes that there's a lot of angst in the House, that we have a lot of House bills sitting. I think everything that we have almost is consent calendar, so these are things that are quickly disposed of, so there's nothing being held in case there's messages being sent back and forth. This is just a matter of their third reader consent calendar. So we'll get to them in just a bit, but let's go to second readers so that we can get those moving along. Let's go to calendar 23 out of judicial proceedings. This is a Senate bill. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 789, Senator Jennings, Vehicle Laws, Automotive Repair Facilities, Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. Favorable to amendments.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As amended, this bill requires the Motor Vehicle Administration, in consultation with specified stakeholders, to study the repair of advanced driver assistance systems and to make recommendations on the feasibility of legislation related to such repairs and training requirements. There are two committee amendments, Mr. President. One is technical, and amendment number 2 strikes the bill as originally drafted and substitutes it for the study. I'd move for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 789 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Let's go to Education, Energy, and the Environment. This is report number 31. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 57, Delegate Vogel, Public Schools, Maryland Civic Excellence Program established. Favorable.
Recognizing Vice Chair of the Committee as the floor leader.
This is a cross-file of the bill this body has already passed, but it added a really good piece requiring a capstone project to make it a little more substantive. The committee thought that was a good idea, so we are good with this version. Ask for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor Leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 57 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 96, Baltimore County Delegation, Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission's Membership Alterations, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from District 10 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill adds 2 members to the Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission, and one replaces the membership of a member appointed by the Baltimore County Chamber of Commerce with a member appointed by the Greater Baltimore Chamber of Commerce, the former successor organization. And 2, specifies that the term of that seat, and then lastly, the bill staggers members' term by specifying members whose term must terminate at the end of September 30, 2028, and the other members whose term must terminate at the end of September 30, 2030. There is no committee amendments, and I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor Leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objection? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 96 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 115, Delegate Wilkins, Election Law, Individuals Released from State Correctional Facilities, Automatic Restoration of Voter Registration, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from the 23rd District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this bill is identical to SB 241, which passed by the Senate 31-13. The bill requires the State Board of Elections and the Department of Public Safety and Corrections Services, DPSCS, to jointly develop and implement procedures and electronic submission process for the restoration of voter registration for individuals released from incarceration in a state correctional facility. DPSCS must electronically transmit to the State Board of Elections on a monthly basis specified information on individuals released from incarceration at a state correctional facility in the immediately preceding month. Notification must also be sent to an individual notifying them of their voter registration, their eligibility to vote, and how to decline registration or update their address. Notwithstanding the Public Information Act, the bill prohibits disclosure of voter registration agency through which formerly incarcerated individual was registered to vote. The bill is effective January 1st, 2027. There were no committee amendments. I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor Leader moves the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 115 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 288, Chair, Ways and Means Committee, State Superintendent of Schools, Prolonged State of Emergency, Authority to Declare, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from the 35th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is substantially similar to Senate Bill 218 as passed by the Senate earlier this session. This departmental bill authorizes the state superintendent of schools rather than the governor to declare a prolonged state of emergency for an event that prevents regular in-person attendance at a public school for at least 14 consecutive school days, thereby allowing a local school system to provide virtual instruction to affected students. The bill also establishes conditions under which the state superintendent may make such a declaration, specifies that nothing in the related subtitle may be construed to limit or interfere with the responsibilities of the Secretary of Health, and it also makes conforming changes. This bill is different in that it specifies that if an emergency threatens or affects a particular school within a local school system, the state superintendent may declare a prolonged state of emergency for that school. The state of emergency may be terminated as specified by the General Assembly, State Board of Ed, or the state superintendent of schools. There are no committee amendments. I'd like to move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor Leader moves the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 288 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 546, Delegate Wolick, Primary and Secondary Education, Educator Professional Development, Course on Well-Being and Flourishing, favorable 2 amendments.
Recognize the Chair of the Committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, this bill, which passed unanimously out of the EEE committee, requires the Maryland State Department of Education by July 1, 2027 to make available a professional development course for all school personnel and administrators on educator well-being and flourishing that meets specified requirements. To fulfill this requirement, the State Department of Education may develop a course, adapt an existing course, or make available an existing course developed by a third party. However, MSDE is only required to provide a course if it can do so at no cost or at a comparable cost to similar courses that it provides as determined by MSDE. Bill takes effect July 1, 2026, terminates June 30, 2031. Two amendments, Mr. President. Number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 corrects terminology by striking continuing before professional development. That second amendment, I'd move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report on House Bill 546.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 546 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 586, Delegate Baylor, County Board of Library Trustees, membership, student member, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from the 38th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 586 is substantially similar to Senate Bill 535 as passed by the Senate. And this bill authorizes a county board of library trustees to provide for the selection of a student member. The bill also establishes the qualifications, term of office, and voting rights of the student member. If selected, the bill extends eligibility requirements to homeschool students as well as public and private school students. There are no committee amendments, and I move for favorable adoption, favorable committee report on House Bill 586.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 586 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to report number 32. Clerk, read the first bill.
House Bill 35, Delegate Foley, Local Government Regulatory Powers, Regulation of Invasive Trees, favorable.
Recognize the senator from the 10th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 35 is nearly identical to Senate Bill 266 as it passed the Senate earlier this session. The bill authorizes the governing body of a county or municipality to regulate through an ordinance listed invasive trees and trees of heaven, including by prohibiting a person from selling listed invasive trees or trees of heaven, planting listed invasive trees or trees of heaven, or allowing trees of heaven or other listed invasive trees to grow on their personal property. The difference between this bill and the Senate crossfile are stylistic and technical. There are no committee amendments, and the bill passed the committee unanimously. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 35 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 243, Chair, Economic Matters Committee, Land Use, Comprehensive and General Plans, Alteration of Elements, favorable.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 243, which passed unanimously out of the EEE committee, is identical to Senate Bill 197 as it passed the Senate earlier this session. This departmental bill from the Department of Planning modifies and reorganizes the elements that a local jurisdiction must include in a comprehensive plan so that the elements, number 1, are consistent with planning principles established under Chapters 63 and 64 of 2025, and number 2, apply consistently across all local jurisdictions. The bill also adds and or modifies certain guidance and requirements applicable to the plans as a whole and to specific elements. Mr. President, there are no committee amendments. I'd move the favorable committee report on House Bill 243.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 243 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 250, Chair, Environment and Transportation Committee, Environment Appropriation or Use of Water and Dam Safety Enforcement.
Recognizing the senator from District 9 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 250 is substantively identical to Senate Bill 108 as passed the Senate earlier this session. The only difference between this bill and the Senate crossfile is the bill's title, which the House amended to reflect the narrowed scope of the bill. This departmental bill alters the enforcement authority of the Maryland Department of the Environment regarding violations of provisions of the Environment article relating to waters, reservoirs, and dams, and not wetlands. There are no committee amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 250 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 255, Chair, Environment and Transportation Committee, Natural Resources, Pamela J. Kelly, Tree Mendes, Maryland Program, alterations, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from Baltimore City and County is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill alters a longstanding state program by adding community participation and care and maintenance of native trees and shrubs as specifically approved purposes. From DNR's perspective, it's going to improve their ability to deploy programs and plant trees, but also to make sure that the trees are maintained over time. There are no committee amendments. There's no fiscal impact. And again, as I say, this bill is nearly identical to Senate Bill 164, which passed unanimously. I asked for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 255 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 429, Delegate Boyce, On-Farm Organics Diversion and Recycling Grant Program established, favorable.
Recognize the senator from District 9 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 429 is identical to Senate Bill 599 as unanimously passed the Senate. The bill establishes the On-Farm Organics Diversion and Recycling Grant Program to award grants for developing and implementing on-farm organics recycling and compost use, wasted food prevention, and food rescue. For fiscal 2028 and each fiscal year thereafter, the governor must include in the annual budget bill an appropriation of $250,000 to the grant program. There are no committee amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 429 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1221, Delegate Foley, Public Safety Short-Term Rental Units, Safety, Jillian and Lindsay Weiner, Short-Term Rental Safety Act, favorable.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee is the floor
Yes,
leader.
thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1221, which passed unanimously out of Triple E committees, identical to Senate Bill 624 as unanimously passed by the Senate earlier this session. The bill requires the inclusion of specified fire prevention and detection equipment in all short-term rental units offered for short-term rental for less than 30 consecutive days by July 1, 2028. Each county in Baltimore City in which short-term rentals are allowed must, by local law or regulation, require the annual inspection of all short-term rental units in the jurisdiction for compliance as specified. Mr. President, there are no committee amendments. I'd move the adoption of the favorable committee report, again on House Bill 1221.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1221 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1324, Delegate Rosenberg, Baltimore City, Natural Resources Archery Hunting Safety Zones, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from the 43rd is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This local bill is exactly the way that it was passed in the Senate. What it does is it reduces the hunting safety zone in Baltimore City for archery hunting from 150 yards to 50 yards. There are 2 committee amendments. The first is technical. The second maintains the existing 150 safety zone yard in the legislative district 43A, preserving its current protections for those communities. As amended, the Senate bill as amended, is identical to Senate Bill 879, which passed the Senate unanimously. I ask for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none. Uh-oh. I lost it. House Bill 1324. Amendments are adopted. On the amended report is adopted. House Bill 1324. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1324 is ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to budget and taxation. Budget and taxation. This is calendar number 24. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 359, Delegate Roberson, a property tax credit, urban agricultural property alterations.
Recognize the senator from the 47th district as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 359 alters the existing local option property tax credits for urban agricultural property. The bill repeals acreage requirements, repeals the requirement to be in a priority funding area, and expands the urban agricultural activities that are eligible for the credit. The bill also requires that at least 1 year's notice and opportunity to comment if a jurisdiction moves to terminate the tax credit. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 359 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 571, Delegate Allen, nonprofit housing corporations, taxes and special assessments, exemptions, alterations, favorable.
Recognize the senator from Baltimore County as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. House Bill 571 alters the definition of nonprofit housing corporation and makes subsidiary entities of these corporations exempt from state and local taxes in the same manner as subsidiary entities of housing authorities are currently exempt. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the committee report.
All right, floor leader moves to adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title?
Mr. President.
Yes, recognize the senator from 45th district has an amendment.
I do, but if I can speak on the bill.
On the bill.
Yep.
We
I'll
adopt the
present the
report.
amendments now.
Okay. Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendments.
Thank you.
All right, give us just a moment, Senator. Senator may explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill simply exempts Baltimore City out of this specific provision. If I can speak to, Baltimore City stands in a very, very unique space, Mr. President. When I think about Baltimore City, it's important to recognize that 1/3 of our city is not taxed at this moment, do not pay property taxes from that standpoint. Mr. President, when I think about property taxes and being the jurisdiction with the highest property taxes across the state of Maryland, so when you think of the other jurisdictions, Baltimore City being its highest property taxes with yours from that standpoint. Mr. President, I think that when we think about the third that do not pay, and just adding or compounding onto that, it's important to recognize that they still utilize services such as fire, sanitation, potholes, police, and things of that nature that the folks that do pay still have to bear the brunt of it, Mr. President. To some of the folks that had asked me to support the bill, I also recognize the education formula. My time during here in the General Assembly, sometimes we see where Baltimore City falls short, and sometimes we're impacted because it perceived wealth that we have it, and our education formulas don't impact it. I think that's an important thing to recognize. Mr. President, just philosophically from the process, I believe that it's important, especially in Baltimore City, that we're taking decisions with precision, surgical, methodological, because at the end of the day, we've already seen what happens when we stack poor people on top of poor people on top of poor people, Mr. President. What we do is we then see how our schools are impacted. We see how neighborhoods and food insecurity is impacted. We see how all of these other social issues from that standpoint happens simply because of policies that we put in place that stack poor people on top of poor people, expecting a different outcome, which will not happen. Do I believe in folks that provide nonprofit housing? Yes, I do. Do I partner with folks that provide nonprofit housing? Yes, I do. But one of the things that I would say, Mr. President, is in having a short-term goals and long-term goals for our district, we cannot get one multiplier out of things. We have to get multiple outcomes when we are deciding to make sure that we provide some type of incentive or shelters from that standpoint. Some of the things that I've been able to benefit from when we do things like that. I think about the library is another asset, Mr. President, that then comes because you provide affordable housing. That's not discussed when we talk about doing a broad sweeping property tax deduction or property tax reduction in reference to nonprofit housing, Mr. President. I tell you about my short-term and my long-term goals. The thing that sit with me, Mr. President, is when I think about the census that took place. When I think about the census that took place, it was only one district that increased in population. And that's why I keep talking about that precision and that surgical and how we have to move forward. I have goals in reference to it, but I do know that you do not get to the outcome or you do not get to the goal when you're stacking poor people in these specific areas. How do they impact from an education standpoint? When I look at places like Dr. Bernard Harris or Johnson Square or Collington Square, that when we do these 5-star ratings, because so many poor kids go to those schools and we've conditioned these policies, that's not the way you do it, Mr. President. I also want to recognize that there are multiple partners in this equation, and we should not be picking winners and losers. When I think about the for-profit people that are providing affordable housing, how do they play out in situations like that? And if I can lean in, Mr. President, one of the things that I've been thinking about is what does ownership look like? While we're talking about affordable housing from a rental standpoint, the thing that I've been putting forward is so that my folks in my city can actually own something, Mr. President, and we aren't incentivizing that. For these reasons, I hope that we'll adopt the amendment that actually takes out or removes Baltimore City, because I tell you, I believe that as Baltimore City legislators, we have to come in with precision. It cannot be broad sweeping. It cannot be one specific policy, but we have to look at these on an individual basis by basis to make sure that we move forward.
All right, Senator has moved the amendment. Hear from the floor leader.
We'll accept the amendment.
All right, committee accepts the amendment. Any objections to the amendment? Objection to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Recognize the senator from the 28th has an amendment.
No, I have a question for the senator from Baltimore City. Is that appropriate?
It's a little bit late because we just adopted the amendment. So it will be back up on third reader, and is still subject to amendment then as well.
Okay, Mr. President.
That works. If that, all right. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Recognize the senator from the 43rd.
Thank you. I just have some questions for the floor leader.
Senator, we adopted the amendment, so we don't have anything before us currently. If we had an amendment, we could, but it'll be back before us on third reader, so I imagine maybe we can have some discussions about it between second and third.
Can I just ask a question of the...
Technically, we don't have anything before the body. If we want to...
Point of order.
But Senator may proceed.
I'll figure it out how to... so we've adopted the committee amendment, the committee report.
We did adopt the report and then had the one amendment. That was
then there were amendments to the report. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And so, again, just clarifying, to ask questions, it will have to be to ask questions on the third reader of this.
Technically, there's not a question before the body because it is whether or not there is an amendment available. If there were an amendment on the floor, that would be the question.
Is it open to layover for amendments?
It is not. The senator could special order for the purpose of an amendment.
Okay. All righty.
And that could bring it back, or could reconsider the vote by which the amendment was adopted.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Yes, Senator from the 28th.
Did you say we could return it to second reader to ask the questions?
Certainly can.
Okay. Well, could we return this bill to the second reader, Mr. President? Make a motion
move to reconsider the vote by which the amendment was adopted, which would take the amendment off, and then we'd have to do it again to get back to the report.
Yes, so we can answer these questions.
Let's see. Are there any questions on the motion to reconsider the vote by which the amendment was adopted? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, nay. The noes have it. We'll take it up between second and third. All right. Any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 571 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 809, Delegate Rosenberg, Walter Sondheim Jr. Public Service Internship Scholarship Program funding, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from District 12 as the floor leader. Oh, 11. Wow, 11. Excuse me. Apologies.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oops, wait a minute. 1 second. This bill specifies that the Walter Sondheim Public Service Internship Scholarship Program consists of at least 3 public service intern fellowships. The first is the Governor's Summer Internship Program. The second is the Sondheim Maryland Nonprofit Leadership Internship Program, and the Sondheim Public Service Law Fellows Program. There are 2 amendments. The first is technical. The second amendment increases the maximum scholarship award from $5,000 to $6,000 and reduces the mandatory appropriation to at least 125% of the appropriation provided in fiscal year 26. I move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader has moved for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its? Seeing none, House Bill 809 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 842, Delegate Griffith, Property Tax Credit Surviving Spouse of Military Service Member, favorable.
Recognize the senator from District 7 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, current law right now is surviving spouse has 2 years for this property tax credit. Many have referred to them as a gold star family. What this bill it does is it is enabling legislation for counties if they want to extend that beyond the 2 years. It doesn't say how much, how many years. Could be 3 years, could be 4 years or further. It's just enabling for the counties to extend it beyond the 2 years for those surviving families or for the surviving spouse. There are no amendments. I just move favorable in the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 842 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1096, Delegate J. Long, Property Tax Credits Notice through Property Tax Bill, favorable.
Recognize the majority leader as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1096 requires each county tax collector to include with the property tax bill a website address or QR code for a county government web page that lists each property tax available to taxpayers in the county and a brief explanation of how to apply for the tax credits. I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1096 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1160, Calvert County Delegation, Calvert County, Calvert Health Medical Center, favorable.
Recognize the senator from Calvert as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1160 is a local bill that updates an obsolete reference to the Calvert Memorial Hospital in the public local laws of Calvert County to the Calvert Health Medical Center Incorporated and its successors. No amendments. Move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1160 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1369, Delegate Solomon, Department of Budget and Management, Audit and Finance Compliance Unit, Establishment, favorable.
Recognize the senator from District 11 as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. House Bill 1369 is a cross-file to Senate Bill 858 passed by the Senate, and this is a joint audit and evaluation committee bill that establishes the Audit and Finance Compliance Unit within the Department of Budget and Management to monitor the efforts of executive branch departments to correct audit findings reported by the Office of Legislative Audits. This new unit, well, newly in statute unit, must submit an annual report to the Joint Audit and Evaluation Committee by October 1 each year on all the audit findings for the executive departments under examination. AFCU and specified elected and appointed officials also may review unredacted cybersecurity audit findings. There are no amendments. I move for the adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1369 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1422, Delegate Solomon, State Procurement and Personnel Liquidated Damages, Documentation Requirements, and State Fiscal Leadership Capacity. Favorable, one amendment.
Recognized Senator from District 11 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1422 is a cross-file to Senate Bill 859, also passed unanimously by the Senate. It authorizes Secretary of Budget and Management to set the pay scale for a CFO and a CIO in order to assist with recruitment and retention for certain units of the executive branch. It also puts in some changes to qualifications for CFO positions, and it expands documentation and approval requirements for executive branch government that decides not to pursue liquidated damages when a specified breach has occurred. There's one amendment. It's just a technical correction in the purpose paragraph, making it identical to Senate Bill 859. Again, as passed unanimously by the Senate. Move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1422 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1513, Calvert County Delegation, Calvert County Public Facilities Bond. Favorable.
Recognized Senator from the 29th is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1513 is a local bill that authorizes Calvert County Commissioners to issue up to $81 million in general obligation bonds. No amendments. Move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1513 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1578, Chair Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, State Procurement, Procurement Preferences, Reauthorizations, and Revisions. Favorable.
Recognized Senator from the 47th is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1578 is a departmental bill that extends the termination date for the Minority Business Enterprise Program by 5 years. It also updates provisions on disparity in state contracting, establishes reporting requirements, and requires the Office of Small Business Minority Women Business Affairs to develop regulations to review small business certification, and amends definition for small businesses to include joint ventures. And it finally makes corresponding adjustments to termination and due dates for MBE contracting requirements related to disparity analysis. There are no amendments. Move adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right. One moment. 1578. Question is on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Or a step ahead. On the report. Questions on the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1578 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, we have a couple special orders on second here. Let's go to Special Order 62. 62, see if we're ready for this. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 154, Delegate Corman, Open Meetings Act, County Board of Education, Enhanced Requirements, Local Board of Education Transparency Act. Question is on the adoption of the favorable report.
All right, question is on the adoption of the favorable report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? No? All right, seeing none, House Bill 154 is ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to special order calendar number 63. 63, clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 839, Frederick County Delegation, Frederick Community College Board of Trustees, Meeting and Training Requirements. Bill is on second reading and open to amendment.
All right, House Bill 839, recognize the senator from District 3 has an amendment. Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment.
Yes, I have an amendment that's clarifying.
All right, one moment, Senator. Just let us get up on the board, make sure we have the right one. And
Hopefully, this is a very friendly amendment, and it has been discussed with the committee chair. It simply clarifies the retention schedule for both minutes under current law and for newly required recordings under the bill. It basically puts the bill in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, and it applies to the retention of both video and audio.
Senator has moved the amendment. Let's hear from the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's considered a friendly amendment. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of, friendly amendment. Any objections to the amendment? Any objections to the amendment? Without objection, the amendment is. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
I just have a question about it.
Senator from District 4 on the amendment.
I realized that it was taken as a friendly amendment. I just wanted to ask, because I'm trying to get clarification on behalf of the delegation. Does this now strike out, the way I see it, it strikes out video, so now it would just be audio recording?
Here, I'll yield to the sponsor of the amendment from Frederick.
Senator, may proceed.
No, it does not strike out video. It just puts the bill in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Video is still, under the bill, required for the first 5 years for retention, and then after 5 years, it can be transcribed.
Okay, I'm just trying to, while I'm speaking with you, thank you for that answer. I just want to, if I can, Mr. President, I'm trying to see, because it says on the amendment that it says strike video, and the committee council said that this is a substantive change, and this wasn't voted on by the delegation. So I would like to, I don't know if I can special order it until we get a chance to look at it, because this is something that I want to make sure. We've been working hard on this. You know, the intentions are good all the way around, but I just need to make sure that when committee council reaches out and says that this is a substantive change, I want to make sure that we have everything correct, that we're not deleting one part inadvertently.
So say the senator has moved to special order the amendment. Let's check with the floor leader.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is a House bill. So, and obviously the gentleman from Frederick, we want to make sure it's correct. And obviously an amendment can be put on this bill on third reader. I mean, they could have a discussion. Okay, I mean, I'm fine. The committee's fine with the special order till the appropriate time next session. That's fine.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
I think we have plenty of time for amendment for what it's worth. Okay. No. Any objections to the motion? Okay. Without objection, we'll special order the bill and the amendment to the appropriate time tomorrow. I think that does it for special order calendars. Let's take up a few of these. We'll do a few of these and see. We'll get through stuff that we had from the first. Let's go to, actually, let's do a quorum call, please.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their presence? Madam Secretary, if we could ring the bells too, please. All right. Has everyone recorded their presence? Senator from the 26th, thank you. Clerk will take the call. With 45 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. We're going to go to Senate third reading calendar number 2. Number 2. Clerk will read the bill. We'll read the calendar, excuse me. Consent number 3.
Third reading House Bill calendar number 2, consent calendar number 3.
All right, Senators, these are House bills on third reading for final passage, no amendments. Please take a look at the bills. Are there any bills that Senators wish to separate? Now or never. If not, question is on third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar number 3 have received a constitutional majority are declared passed. Let's go to House bill calendar number 3. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading House Bill calendar number 3, consent calendar number 4.
All right, Senators, these are House bills on third reading, final passage, unamended bills. Are there any bills that Senators wish to vote on independently? If not, the bills are on third reading for final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on calendar number 3, consent 4, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. Clerk will, the next calendar will go with number 4. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading House Bill calendar number 4, consent calendar number 5.
All right. These are third reading calendar House bills on third reading for final passage, unamended bills. Please take a look. Any bills that Senators wish to separate? Take a look. If not, third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on calendar number 4 having received a constitutional majority are declared passed. Let's go to number 5. Clerk will read the calendar.
All right. Third reading House Bill calendar number 5, consent calendar number 6.
All right, calendar number 5. These are House bills on third reading, final passage. Are there any bills that Senators wish to separate? I'll give it a second. Looks like they're all out of finance. If not, third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar, on third reading calendar number 5 have received a constitutional majority are declared passed. We're going to go to 7, calendar number 7. Number 7. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading calendar number 6, consent calendar number 7. No?
That's all right.
No, 7. All right. There we go. All right. Third reading calendar number 7, consent calendar number 8.
All right. These are House bills on calendar number 7. On number 7, any bills that Senators wish to separate to vote independently? If not, third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House bills on calendar number 7 having received a constitutional majority are declared passed. Let's go to Third reading House Bill Calendar number 8, consent number 9. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading House Bill Calendar number 8, consent calendar number 9.
These are House bills on third reading, final passage, unamended, out of finance. Any discussion? Any separations? If not, third reading, final passage, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on third reading calendar number 8, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. All right, we're going to do one last calendar for the day, this is going to be third reading calendar 6. Third reading calendar 6. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading calendar number 6, consent calendar number 7.
Third reading calendar number 6, consent number 7. All right, third reading, final passage. Nothing from any of the pages, nothing. Come on, no, nothing. Oh, you have another one? Oh, you have an amendment? Oh, okay, recognize oh, no, this will be the last one we do. That's the last one we do. All right. Third reading calendar number 6, consent 7. Any further discussion? Any separations? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 46 votes in the affirmative, House bills on third reading calendar number 6, consent calendar number 7, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. All right, that'll do it for today. We're going to pause there. We got a few left, but they're all consents. That'll be quick and easy. We'll leave them for some fill-in time. Do we have any, let's see, committees? Anything in the morning for committees? Finance, EEE, Budget and Tax. Recognize Chair of Budget and Tax.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will vote at 8 a.m.
Ooh.
8:30.
Oh, felt the room.
8:30?
8:30, yeah, going to 8:30 it is. 8:30 it is. Judicial proceedings? Nope. Let's see. Do we have any standing committees, select committees, delegations? Prince George's County delegation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Prince George's County delegation will meet immediately after the floor session tonight in the Neal Room.
All right, excellent. Any further delegations? Caucuses. Recognize the Chair of the Majority Caucus.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Senate Democratic Caucus will be meeting tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the Majority Caucus room, 9 a.m.
All right, recognize the Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Minority Caucus will be meeting at 8:45 a.m. in the Minority Caucus room.
Excellent. Senator from the 25th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take some time to acknowledge my children. This is the
yes,
last day of spring break. They go back to school tomorrow. And so I just want to acknowledge my son, who's a lot of you guys have already met, little Nick, Charles III, and then my beautiful daughter, Bryn Charles. Please welcome them to the Senate. Thank you.
Welcome. Hope you all enjoyed that spring break. School's coming tomorrow. Back at it. Finally some routine again in the world. Excellent. Very good. Welcome. Your dad talks about you both all the time, so he loves you, you know. All right, let's see. Any further discussions? Let's recognize Senator from the 37th.
Thank you, Mr. President. And we have a couple protocol announcements to make.
Senator may proceed, please.
Permission to use the senator's names.
Please.
There's 2 names we need to use. The first is we celebrated a birthday yesterday. There was a lot of things going on, but let's join together and give a warm Senate birthday wish to Senator Bill Folden. Happy birthday, Senator Folden.
Hey!
And while we keep the good spirit flowing, we have another birthday we're celebrating today. It is Senator Sarah Love's birthday. Let's give Senator Love a big birthday.
Just where they always wanted to be. Right here. Excellent. Let's recognize the Chair of the Rules Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, the Rules Committee will meet immediately following session.
All right, everyone hear that? Everyone hear that? Rules after session, please. All right, any further? Anything further? Anything further? If not, let's do a quorum call.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 46 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland remains in session, recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Tuesday, April 6th at 10 a.m.
Without objection, so ordered. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. See you tomorrow.